Welcome again. I've had a very, very fun time with my 2000, no, actually 1999 iMac G3. We've seen it in a couple of videos now. Now, I think I'm pretty much done with what I'm going to be able to accomplish with the machine. Why don't we take a look? All right, since we're documenting things here, I thought I would take a moment to show that yes, I in fact did put the back onto it, or the bottom cover back onto it, and screwed it in. Look at some of the nice touches. This raises the monitor for easier viewing, and yeah, it's purple. And on what would be the back of the computer, a purple apple. And another purple apple on what would be the front of the computer. Such a beautiful piece of work this is. All right. Yes, I do have to admit there was a little bit of plastic damage. That was a little tab that secured the video cable. It doesn't seem to really matter that it's no longer in there. And of course you can't see it in there. These pieces all broke off in my repeated efforts to try to get the drive and logic board tray back into the machine. Of course, the part of it that holds the drive had gotten bent, I think probably in my efforts to get the original hard drive to come out of the thing. This all came from the place where the optical drive tray ejects. And of course, you may remember it was pushed up a little bit and it couldn't eject. Maybe I should have just broken the rest of that off. But no, I finally did get it back in, and it's something much, much more like the correct orientation. But yeah, what an amazing design. And it is a very cool color, isn't it? Well, I'm going to try this again. I want to start the video with timing the boot up time for OS 9. So I tried to do that. Now, I did film the clip right before this afternoon, in which I turned the iMac onto its screen, and that's when I reattached the bottom cover. It's been sitting there without that cover on. Now, of course, in order to do that, I unplugged everything. So the keyboard, and I was trying to use the start button, power button on the keyboard, was not connected. Neither was the internet. And finally, I hadn't plugged the power cord in. Nothing was plugged in. So it should work this time, and I'm going to try timing the boot up. Now, I don't think this makes all that much difference, to tell you the truth. If it takes a minute or two to boot up, as long as it boots up and runs, that's the important thing. On the other hand, it's kind of important on this machine because it does lock up pretty often. That's largely me pushing it. Okay. Now it's going to load its extensions. Nice little spinning hourglass there, which is reminiscent of the modern beach ball, unlike the wristwatch. Okay. Still not completely loaded up here. And I've got an idea why. All right. Okay.
Please register your copy of Drag Thing.
Not yet. That's funny. I mean, this is something I got from macOS 9 Live's website. And the idea is it puts an emulation of a dock onto your desktop, which is why I don't have, the standard array of application shortcuts aliases here. Oh well. Anyhow, there it is. Oh, and I forgot to stop the timer. All right. It was something over a minute. The heck with that. All right. Like I said, I don't think it matters all that much. All right. We should look at about this computer. macOS 9.2.2 with the macOS ROM 9.2.1. 512 megs of memory. So the RAM upgrade certainly worked. Now there's no more info on that, but System Profiler is right here in the Apple menu to get more information. It is not a super powerful computer by any means. All right, the devices. Now it says hard drive, but of course that hard drive is actually the SSD. macOS 9 knows nothing about hard drives, SSDs. What kind of information do they got on their volume format? Yes, this is the boot partition. These computers, the early tray loading iMacs, had to have all of the system files contained in the first 8 gigabytes of the drive. Now, if you just installed it, it would probably, to a blank drive, it would probably install on those first 8 gigabytes, but as you kept adding data, I don't know that this would happen on an SSD, but on a hard drive where data gets scattered all over the place, you could very soon end up with system files that were outside that first 8 gigs, and your system simply wouldn't boot. And then there's the rest of that 128 gigabyte drive is here as the data partition. All right. No, I don't think there's anything else we really need to look at here. Okay, as far as applications, it's got many of the normal things. It does have Microsoft Word. Which is opening up Word 2001, which is what I put on all of the OS 9 computers. Tell me it isn't going to lock up. No, it's doing something. Never really saw that splash screen do anything. Okay, so it did open up. And here we are with our Word document. Yeah, I'm over here. Let's go that way. And yes, spell check works. So yeah, I intentionally mistyped that, of course, naturally. Okay, we'll quit that. We don't need to save that wonderful document. So we've got Word, we've got Excel. We also have PowerPoint on there. I didn't bother to put shortcut to it. You can get to it easily if you want it. I have hardly ever used PowerPoint in my life. It's got Entourage in there, which is an email program, which doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. I've tried it. I can't put any email addresses onto it. I mean, I can put in the addresses, but it can't contact the servers. All right, moving on. Apple works. And you notice everything is quite a bit slower. All the other OS 9 computers I've got have, at the lowest, 1.5 gigs of RAM, and often 2 gig. Okay, but you know, once it loaded up, it works fine. All right, so we'll quit out of that. Print shop. Now this is an older version of Print Shop. The nice thing about it is I don't have to load the CD. You can go to an online greeting. And it starts from scratch. You know, we can put in anything we want. We can put in backgrounds, we can put in images, we can put in text boxes, headlines, all kinds of things. It's a fun little program to play with and something that I use a pretty fair amount. All right, Stuff It Expander, a very necessary thing to have when you're downloading files, which is possible. iTunes, I don't know if you even opened iTunes, to tell you the truth. Yep, that's what it's hitting me with. All right, can I command quit this? No, I can't. I should never have opened it. We're always connected, of course. All right, I am not going to do that. Okay, so here we are on iTunes. Now, I have cleverly put on this circus jig. And the reason I did this is the one file, all of the music files that I've done have been saved in an ACC format, which this version of iTunes cannot recognize. It can, however, play MP3. So I converted an M4A into an MP3. And you've heard this before if you've been following the videos. The built-in speakers are pretty good, I will admit. I could wish for a little more bass, but then speaking as a bass player, banjo comes through nicely though. So yeah, music from the 1850s being played on a computer from the 1990s. Okay, we will spare you that as much as I enjoy listening to that. Okay, so cut out iTunes. The games, we may come back to that. I put a link into Notepad there. That also we saw in an earlier video. You can make notes to yourself. It'll save a number of different notes, so you can go back and then look at it, which in some ways is kind of good, as opposed to the stickies. There's the stickies mini program still on here. The problem I have with that is, again, you got to stick them on the screen, and we're limited in screen real estate. This is a 1024 resolution, which actually on a computer this age is pretty good. All right, Toast Titanium. Very important, because when I download files from the internet to install programs, often what they are is disk images of CDs. Toast Titanium mounts those just as though you had actually physically put a CD into the optical drive. And I do have my question about whether this optical drive is failing or not. All right, quit out of that. QuickTime Player. I upgraded QuickTime. So we've got version 6. This is the most recent version of QuickTime that would run here in OS 9. And iMovie. I cannot imagine trying to edit improper QuickTime installation. Oh, well, yeah. What you would do is to mount your camera using FireWire, and this machine doesn't have FireWire. Yeah, those speakers are really pretty good. Okay, now where the machine falls, so far it's running very, very well. Kind of slow opening Word, but once it got opened, everything worked just fine. Where the machine falls down is internet. You can barely get on the internet at all. I have had no success getting ClassZilla to run. I'm not even going to try to demonstrate what happens because it takes a while. What happens is it starts to start up, then it locks up the whole computer. And there have been times the only way I've been able to get out of it is to pull the power cord out of it, which of course does shut it down. And then I have to restart it and go through a couple of different reboots just to get it to get started correctly. So ClassZilla is a no-go. Now, the other options that we have I did install, wherever the heck it is here. Huh. Is it? Oh, yeah, it's back in here, the Netscape. No, I think, in fact, I think I took it off. I tried installing Netscape 7.02, the last version of Netscape that would run. Wouldn't do it. It came with Netscape 4.77 pre-installed, and it also came with Internet Explorer. Now, Internet Explorer does run. It can't get to a lot of websites, but one that it can get to that is very, very important I thought it would just open it up to it. I keep looking because I'm expecting it to autocomplete. Okay, hopefully I spelled that right. No, I didn't, did I? I did a very bad job. Okay, I gotta come over here so I can see this keyboard. Okay, that should do it. Macintosh Garden. I'm tormenting myself using this keyboard. It's old and very worn out. Okay, it should open up now. And there it is. The Garden, as people refer to it in the OS or PowerPC community. And you can get just about any application you might want, any game you might want, it's all here. The only negative, there is so much on this website that it can be hard to find exactly what you want. And at least in these browsers, the search function really doesn't do much. Now, what I found though, I figured, okay, great. You know, IE can get to the Garden. We're going to be just fine. I tried to download some files for some applications I wanted to put on the machine. Since there's no FireWire, I can't connect a FireWire drive. I tried connecting a drive via USB, which is 1.1. When I tried copying anything over a very few megabytes, the system would lock up. I'd have to pull a power cord and all of that. Kind of frustrating times. So when I found that IE would get to Macintosh Garden, oh great, and I found the files. It then said it was going to take like 20 hours or whatever, or maybe it was like 15 hours to download a 22 megabyte file, and it would just give up partway through. I have also had IE lock up. So I was beginning to wonder, how on earth am I going to put anything of any interest at all on this computer? Because IE didn't cut it. IE was the default web browser in OS 9. And I think I explained this. It was Steve Jobs' deal with the devil in order to get Microsoft to continue providing Office for Mac, because Gates had threatened to cut the cord, and that would have been a disaster. People were very dependent on that, particularly sharing files with people using PCs, all of whom used Office or could at least read things in the Office format. So the only way Gates would agree to continuing the development of Office for Mac, which is still in development, by the way, was if Jobs agreed to make Internet Explorer the default browser on Macs. And it was, up until Safari was introduced with OS 10.3 Panther. Internet Explorer was it. Jobs got booed when he announced that. I think it was at a Macworld. One of the few times I maybe the only time I have ever known of Steve Jobs to be booed by a Mac crowd. There have been murmurings at times, depending on what he was doing. All right. So, the little bit of window to the internet we have is Netscape. This is Netscape Communicator 4.77. I did install 4.8, but there's very little difference between, in fact, I don't think there is any difference. Let's open that up again. Here we go. Why don't you want to open? Oh, I think I actually never closed it. So we'll open a new navigator window. Yeah, that was it. I thought I had closed it. I had not. All right. Now, this is Macintosh Garden. You just saw Macintosh Garden on Internet Explorer. Netscape cannot even begin to keep up with modern styles. So finding anything on this page is very difficult. But the basics are there. You can get to the games. You can get to the apps. You know, there's the forums. We've got interesting forums here on this site. There's a lot that's very cool. So if you go to the apps, like I said, the search doesn't do you any good at all, but you can find it alphabetically what you want your app to. The app you're looking for. I was looking for Netscape, which I did. Click on N there, or a variety of other things. Looking for Oregon Trail. O, and then you kind of have to estimate where you want to be, about how far in. Oregon Trail, for instance, is going to be pretty deep into the O's, being alphabetical order and all that. But what I did find is once I found what I was looking for, the downloads were remarkably quick. Oh, by the way, I apologize for the screen flickering. It is a CRT monitor. There's nothing much I can do about that. All right, so yeah, that saved me and got me started. Now, I spent a couple of hours a couple nights ago trying to get an email program set up. As I say, I could not get ClassZilla to run. The Netscape email program will not contact anything. Netscape 7.02, no better. I tried Entourage out of the Office suite. Nope. I tried Outlook Express. Just couldn't connect. Not that matters. So this isn't going to be an internet machine anyway. But I did discover something interesting, though. Apple, somewhere along the line, changed the Apple File Protocol, AFP, so that you can no longer connect OS 9 or OS 10.0, 10.1 computers to modern Mac computers. When I got my first OS 9 computer many years ago, in fact, it was a lime green iMac, very similar to this. I could connect it to my network just fine, no problem at all. Can't do it now, and believe me, I have tried. But it finally dawned on me, well, I can't connect to my Mac Pro. I can't even connect to my Power Mac, or any of my Power Macs. But surely I could connect to another computer running OS 9. And I managed to do that. Now what you have to do, there are two things you have to do. First of all, in control panels. Look down here. You do have to set up file sharing. And I have done that. File sharing is on. Program linking is on. And that has to be set up, of course, on both computers that you're going to network. And then, network browser. It will open up. You can actually do it either on Apple Talk or the local network. Aha! Upstairs in the computer layer, there is Lee's, I left the S off that, PowerMac G4 AGP. That's the Sawtooth, which is currently booted up in OS 9. Now I have to unlock the keychain. And here's a list of all of the partitions that I can access. Now, there's so many, of course, because you may remember the Sawtooth I set up so that it can boot into every version of the Mac OS that a PowerPC Mac can boot into, from OS 9 up to 10.5 Leopard. So you see the icon that's appeared over here, OS 9 SSD, and there's a little mark over there that's showing, the icon is showing that this is a network mounted drive, and here you can see all of the files on that drive, and I can simply transfer files from here to there. Very, very easy. So, if I open up the system folder, I get all sorts of things out of the system folder if I want. Now, documents. Here are all the documents that are there. Now, this is actually how I got Circus Jig, but we'll put another copy on the Sawtooth just for the heck of it. So it's going to replace that. It's not a huge file. Bang, there it goes, Circus Jig. All right. So, that has been a true blessing, because what I can do, I cannot mount my network file server, which is up there. You see the old style time capsule sitting up there in a central location. That's my network file server. I use that to store all kinds of Mac-related goodies. Okay, we'll close out of that. So what I can do is boot the Sawtooth, or any computer that's running OS 9. I can do the same thing. Boot that computer into a version of OS 10 that can see network drives under the modern version of AFP. I can get whatever I need off of the network file server, move it into a position where I can find it easily in OS 9, boot back to OS 9, connect the computers again, and transfer whatever data I want to. It's been very, very, very useful, and I'm glad I figured that one out. All right, now I'm not sure what else we can see here. I do have After Dark. It's set for 5 minutes, which is fine, but we'll just look at the demo. Takes a second to start up with the various kinds of toasters through the ages. And now, the famous flying toasters. There's music that goes along with this. I disabled it because actually when you have a screensaver, I don't know how much you really want your computer singing to you. uh, and it doesn't actually sing. You've got words going on down at the bottom there, but all you get is a tune to go with that. Okay, but yes, very famous. All right. So we can quit out of that. I don't know why it says that it is unexpectedly quit, but it works fine. And then the games. Yes, we can play Oregon Trail. I didn't put Mist on. I didn't know that Mist was actually going to work. I may do that just for the heck of it. All right. And here comes the famous Oregon Trail. Traveling the trail. I usually decide to be a carpenter so I can fix things on the trail. If you're a banker, you get to have more money so you can buy things, but when you're just out on the trail, that's not always helpful. Being a teacher doesn't do you a whole lot of good in this. A doctor can be handy. You're more likely to have your party make it. All right, I'm not going to start the game. I'll play that on my own time. And I'm not going to put 8-Ball Deluxe on there because I got to switch the color setting away from millions of colors. All right. Toaster run. All right, now this would be awkward for me to actually play. The way I've got this set up, I placed the camera so that you can see the screen well. The keyboard is way off to the side here, so it's not a particularly convenient way to go about it. So I think that we'll probably find this to be a convenient place to end the video. This computer is a lot of fun, and more than anything else, it's a beautiful work of art. I mean, look at the thing. Look at this. What an amazing piece of design. And this design went away because, of course, it's designed like this because of that CRT monitor that's taking up most of the room in there. Once they went to flat panel LCD monitors, this wasn't necessary. We'll see more with iMacs as to where they went next in a future video. But anyhow, it is a piece of computer history. I have to find a place for it here in the house where it's going to be on display, where people will see it. Well, at least when we get back to the point that people actually come to your house again. I hope that ends soon. Well, anyway, this will be the end of the video. Be good to other people. They deserve it. Be especially good to yourselves because you deserve it. And take very, very good and careful care. We will be seeing you soon.